Hey there, I'm Matthew from Leedz Academy, and today we are going to discuss certain common errors which candidates make during their speaking module of the IELTS exam. Let's have a look. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Matthew Stephen and I'll be your IELTS examiner for this speaking session.
Okay.
May I know your name, please?
My name is Swaroop Joseph and you can call me Swaroop.
Okay, Swaroop, how do you feel today?
It's really good. It's all as usual.
What do you think about the weather?
It's pleasant. I love being out on sunny days.
Okay. Are there a lot of sports centers where you live?
I'm a person who really loves visiting sports centers once in a while. Sports centers can develop youngsters' talent in sports, and I think there are a lot of sports centers in my locality.
The examiner asked the candidate, are there a lot of sports centers where you live? In this question, sports centers is the key word. The candidate repeatedly used this word in his response. Therefore, this highlights the limitation of his vocabulary. Instead of sports centers, he could have used recreational facilities, health and fitness club, sports complex. However, when that word was repeated multiple times, it showed that the lexical resource of the candidate is limited, and therefore this can be a common error which you might make in your speaking. Is it important to have sports centers near where people live?
Yes, I think it is important to have sports centers near where people live because it improves their health and fitness.
In this question, the candidate starts his response by replicating the phrase from the question. Now, when you do something like that, it highlights the lack of fluency or flexibility in using the language. Apart from that, the candidate also used yes. Now, saying yes or no is not entertained in your response because it is more like a direct answer or a one-word response. So instead of saying yes, the candidate can say, certainly, I do believe there are. Do you often stay in hotels?
Nowadays, hotels have become very popular due to the development in tourism. Moreover, hotels provide great amount of comfort and luxury.
Now here, the examiner asked the candidate, how often do you stay in hotels? However, the candidate spoke about hotels and tourism in general, which does not answer the question. Thus, the candidate has deviated from the topic of the question. Now, when you say an answer which has nothing to do with the question, you will lose marks for fluency and coherence. Does your country have a lot of big hotels?
Being home to numerous tourist destinations, India used to have a lot of big hotels. Foreign tourists do not prefer to stay in a mediocre accommodation. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of luxurious hotels in my country.
Grammatical range and accuracy is one of the marking criteria of IELTS speaking. In this question, the candidate was asked, does your country have a lot of big hotels? The candidate responded by saying that India used to have. Now, used to is a modal that is used to denote a past habit or practice. Therefore, that modal is not accurate in this particular context. Not just that, the candidate also said tourists or foreigners do not prefer. Now, in speaking, you are encouraged to use contractions. Instead of saying do not, the candidate should have used don't. Now, what is a contraction? A contraction is a shortened version of a written word or a spoken word. For instance, when you say, I have not been working, instead of saying the complete form, you can say, I haven't been working. I will go to the church. I'll go to the church. She will not respond to the question. She won't respond to the question. In speaking, it is encouraged to use contractions. However, in writing, it is quite the contrary. What sort of hotels are most popular among business people?
Business people seek better amenities and luxury. Therefore, they are more comfortable staying in a high-end hotel.
Are you able to find the error which the candidate made in this particular response? Let me tell you. The examiner asked the question, what sort of hotels are most popular for business people? And the response was quite good. However, in the second part of the response, the candidate said a sentence which goes like this: therefore, business people are more comfortable staying in luxury hotels. Now, the word comfortable is pronounced incorrect. Therefore, the correct pronunciation is comfortable. As you know, pronunciation is one of the marking criteria of speaking, and it is important to pronounce English words correctly. Now, let's go to the third part of speaking, which is analytical discussion. Let's talk about photos in general.
Okay.
Do you think people today take more photos than they used to?
Yes, I think people nowadays take a lot of photos than earlier times.
The third part of IELTS speaking is known as analytical discussion. In this section, the candidate is expected to provide response and reason for every question, which means each response should have a brief detail to support the response. However, in this particular question, the candidate ended his response in one sentence, which highlights his lack of fluency and also limitation in providing proper sentences in English language. What kind of photos do most people like to keep or send to other people?
Well, it really depends on. It really depends from person to person. For me, I really love to send my selfies, but I don't think I'll be sending my group photos or whatever family get-togethers we had photographs. I won't be sending those kinds of photos.
Fluency and coherence is one of the important marking criteria of speaking, which means the candidate should be able to connect his ideas, provide a continuity in his speech. However, in this particular question, the candidate's response was riddled with involuntary pause and block. If he responds in this manner, he might lose his overall score in speaking. Therefore, I would suggest you to use fillers or linking words to connect your sentences. Has journalism changed since photos can be sent from one place to another within minutes?
Journalism is defined as the process of gathering, assessing, and presenting news or information. Well, because of these recent developments in technology, photos now can be sent from one place to another within minutes. So I think journalism has been redefined.
Certain candidates have a misconception that providing a memorized answer would help them to get a better score in speaking. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but examiners can easily understand if a person is providing a memorized answer. In this particular section, the examiner asked the candidate, has journalism changed since photos can be sent immediately from one side of the world to another within minutes? However, the candidate responded by providing a definition of journalism which had nothing to do with the question. Therefore, I would recommend you to stop believing in such myths that providing a memorized answer would help you to get a better score. I would advise you to stop the practice of giving memorized answers because there is no easy shortcut to getting a good score in speaking. Is it a positive development that news stations ask people to send in their own photos of news events as they are happening?
Even though there are numerous benefits of doing so, yet people may misuse this feature to promote or to spread fake or fraudulent information.
Do you think the candidate made any mistakes while giving response to this particular question? Are you able to spot the error? Well, let me tell you. There is something called intonation in speaking. Intonation means modulating the pitch and tone of your voice and also providing word stress and sentence stress. Intonation comes under pronunciation, which is one of the marking criteria of speaking. In this particular response, the candidate provides a blunt response or a blunt answer without modulating the pitch and tone of his voice, especially while saying the word however. Therefore, I would advise all the candidates to bring adequate intonation to their speech while providing a response. I hope this session was informative for you, and I do believe that you have understood the common errors which candidates make while giving their speaking examination. To know further about IELTS speaking, the marking criteria, the grammar topics, please subscribe to Leedz YouTube channel or contact Leedz at 9947 233 335.